Hi, this is Bill Varney from Your Saltwater Guide, and this is your surf fishing report for Thursday, November 14th. Okay, once again, let's start up north. You know, we have not seen much change in the water temperature over the last week, even though we saw a windy period followed by a Santa Ana period. We're going to get here back into a windy period over this weekend. We really have seen no change in the water temperature, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that swells are coming down from the northwest out of the Aleutians, and then swells out from the South Pacific are coming up, and they're kind of boxing that water into California. I do see that changing over the near future, and under our conditions report later, you'll learn more about why that's happening and when you can expect the water to cool down here in Southern California. But all the way up in Santa Barbara, we continue to have decent fishing up there. The water has cleaned up quite a bit. This week we had some pretty good fishing on halibut up there at 3 spots in particular. Most of the fish were sublegal. They were kind of that 16 to 20 inch size. There were a couple in the 24 to 26 inch range up there. So surf fishing continues to be good up there. Fishing, of course, is good up there on the Battlestar baits, on the Lucky Craft baits, on the white flukes, and of course the white swim baits. All 4 of those have been working really, really well in the surf. Perch fishing continues to be good up there. The perch seem to be getting a little bit bigger. We're seeing them on grubs, lugworms, bloodworms. That seems to be the choice bait. And then the best areas to fish up in that area have been Haskell's, which is down by the Santa Barbara area, the East Beach, the Sandspit on the outside of the harbor for halibut fishing, Black Rock up by the university, and then the Stairs by the Goleta Pier. Those entire areas, so way up north in Santa Barbara County, in the city of Santa Barbara, Goleta, and then all the way down south by Montecito, all of those areas have been producing some fish over the last week or so. So we're going to keep our eye on that with this wind coming up this weekend, see how that changes the conditions up in Santa Barbara. Didn't get a lot of reports this week from Ventura. Ventura has had some really good perch fishing in kind of that 8 to 12 inch range. Some of the best baits for those perch have been the honey badger baits, honey badger grubs, and then any like 2 inch motor oil grubs, 2 to 3 inch motor oil grubs. Those have all worked really well in that area. Look for striper fishing up in that area to pick up. I would fish both at night or after dark rather, the Ventura River area up above C Street there, and then I'd also fish the Santa Clara River mouth. When that tide comes up after dark, where of course we have these astronomical tides with a full moon coming up on Friday, those striper are going to flood in off of the beach into some of those inner bay areas, the mouths of these rivers. And those are particularly good places to fish them at night. And I would fish them with, once again, the hard baits like the Lucky Craft, the Battlestar, and some heavier line, probably 12-pound plus line up there. It's at night, they won't be able to see it. But anyway, look for that area to really turn on over this next week when we have these super astronomical tides and a full moon, which is a great feeding period at night for stripers. So that's what's going to happen up in Ventura. Taking a step down into Malibu, Malibu remains good, as we talked before. There's been some really good perch fishing. It's been at Leo Carrillo, it's been at Broome Thornhill, it's been at Point Magoo and the beaches in between there. Been very good. A lot of the anglers have been fishing that area, not only with grubs and things, but with mussel, clams, and with worms. And they've been waiting for low tide and then hiking out on the rocks or adjacent to the rocks and fishing right on the edge of where the sand and the rock meets. There's been some really nice perch in that area. And then the other good news is just right down from the Malibu Pier, probably, gosh, a couple hundred feet maybe from the Malibu Pier, 26-inch halibut was pulled in this week on a white swim bait right in that area. So there's good halibut fishing where you find the sand rock structure, and then there's been particularly good perch fishing up there. I think it'll continue to be good because we're going to see some swells out of the northwest. They're going to miss that whole area, that Point Magoo down to Leo Carrillo. A lot of that's going to be missed. It'll remain calm in that area, and some very good fishing will go on there. And then we make our way down to the South Bay. You know, the South Bay continues to be good. There's been a couple of small corbina I've seen in Hermosa and Manhattan this last week, but really the big news is the continued big yellowfin croaker where Torrance Beach meets Palos Verdes, right at Rat Beach area there. there continues to be some really big yellowfin croaker down there. I think it's because the water, especially when you get these swells out of the northwest, it pushes it into the corner there. There's like a 90-degree almost angle corner there, and it keeps the warm water kind of in the center there, which is where their food's going to be. And so they have a tendency to congregate down there right at Torrance Beach, where Torrance meets Palos Verdes, which is called Rat Beach, right after Torrance. So that area continues to be good. We haven't seen a big drop in water temperature there. And I don't think we're going to see it. It'll probably last a couple weeks longer than really the open ocean, open beach area that will cool off a little bit quicker. And then if we make our way down to Orange County was really the hot spot this week, with one angler getting a 20-inch and just 2 days ago, a 26-inch corbina using about a 4-inch hookup pearl-colored swim bait. One of the biggest corbina I've seen of the year. And remember, this is the time of year that the smaller ones kind of go into the estuaries, may go out into deeper water, but most likely go into the harbors and estuaries, while the big ones stay outside the harbor for a little while longer looking for the last bits of food. So this is the time of year when you can catch some of those really big corbina at the beach. And then barred perch all along the whole South Bay area have been kicked out. A lot of them have been in the palm size. Those will probably grow and be bigger as the water cools off and the females come out to begin to spawn here in December. So South Bay fishing has been really good. Hermosa, Manhattan, Redondo, Torrance, Rat Beach, that whole zone in there continues to be good. That will change over the next week with this big swell coming out of the northwest. And then lastly, San Diego. Now down in San Diego, it also has been a bit quiet, and this is what we normally see this time of year, where everything kind of moves north with that warmer water at the end of the summer, and it slows down a bit in San Diego. But San Diego and the San Diego Bay continues to have a good bite on stripers. Where are these stripers coming from? And these aren't big fish. These are probably like 15 to 22-inch stripers. A lot of those are being caught once again on hard baits just cast from the docks in the Back Bay area. So that remains good, and I think that striper bite will continue good probably into and through the winter, depending on what type of rainstorms that we get and how violent the wind is. But otherwise, I think we're going to continue to see the stripers all winter long, and certainly into next summer along the coast here. And then the other thing is that there's been some decent weather down in San Diego and some pretty good perch fishing once again for those palm-sized perch down there. And they're catching those at Carlsbad, Mission Beach, Ponto, Del Mar. All of those spots in between are kind of covered by all of those small. And there's very, very tiny sand crabs down there, too small to collect. And then oddly enough, some of the bigger sand crabs are still up in the South Bay area, the Hermosa, Manhattan, Redondo, underneath the piers there. There's still anglers finding some about the size of a quarter. And those will remain for a little bit longer until they're gone. They're still biting on those up north, but certainly nothing's biting on sand crabs down in San Diego because there's really none around, and it's a much better time down there to concentrate on grubs, artificials, and then of course the live baits like lugworms, bloodworms, mussels, cut shrimp. All of those things will work well in the surf in San Diego. So I hope everybody knows that our new calendar, the CCA 2025 calendar, is out now. You can find these at tackle shops, all the tackle shops, landings, and then you can also find them online at surffishtackle.com. Check it out. These have all the tides that you need, the moon phases, important information and tips to make you a better angler at the beach. Well, that's the surf fishing report for this week. It still remains good. We're going to see what happens next week after these storms come through the weekend and this big wind. Hopefully things will remain good. But thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. Thank you for watching our surf fishing report. To learn more about surf fishing, go to yoursaltwaterguide.com, where you'll find videos, dozens of articles, and our weekly surf fishing game plan to help make you a better angler on the beach. Once again, yoursaltwaterguide.com. Thank you so much for watching.